I feel like I'm cursed because I've tried to record this video like 3 times, and every time there's like a problem with the audio or a problem with the video or a problem with the background noise. But we got a little bit of daylight left, and I'm going to try to cover as much as I can. It's just chaotic today. So let's get into it while we still can. Make sure that you check out the links in the description for this video because I do have a lot of like apps and things to share in that regard. So you're going to want to check out all those links, as well as timestamps. Because I have a lot to cover, you might want to jump around in the video. So starting out, I want to discuss some frustrations that I've been having. Over the past week, I've been dealing with my telehealth provider not really responding to my messages. So if you watch some of my last videos, you know that I've been working with Ro. They're a newer telehealth provider, and I understand like they're probably having some growing pains alongside with this unprecedented demand for Wegovy and the shortage that's happening with the manufacturer. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. However, up to this point, I've had a good experience. And it's just been this last week that I haven't really heard from them, and I need to get my next dosage prescription. So for the next dosage up. So I'm now on the 0.25 milligrams. I am moving up to the 0.5 milligrams. We shall see how that process goes. Worst comes to worst, I do have a refill for the 0.25 already in the system for Amazon, so I'm probably just going to have them fill that 0.25 for the next month just in case. And then if I do get that next dosage bumped up, great. If not, I won't have to stop, right? Like I'll have 0.25 on hand. So I will be moving up to that 0.5 dosage. If all goes well, you'll know by next week. I'll know by next week, so you will know in the next video. I'm interested to see how that goes and if I experience any sort of like new side effects, increased weight loss. Like, I don't know. I don't know what that's gonna look like, so we'll see. So that covers that. I just wanted to put that out there and also say I still recommend Ro, but I do think everyone needs to know that it may be difficult to hear back from them and difficult to get the responses you need right away. So you really have to be on top of your own prescription timing and checking out pharmacies, and that's frustrating, especially if you're paying a fee for a service. So there's that. Next thing I want to talk about is food and macros and the volume of food I've been eating and what my appetite has been looking like. So, to summarize it, I have a few different apps that I like to use right now. And I have to say, I haven't had an appetite much. Because of that, I'm having to be more intentional about eating and about meal prepping. I'm not good at that because I have executive dysfunction and I have ADHD, so I really do not like that kind of thing. But I do use an app right now, and before I discuss these apps, I'll preface this with I am not affiliated with any of these companies. I don't receive any sort of commission from them at this time. So these are simply apps that I like to use because they help me, and I hope they help you as well. So Intent is the app that I've been using for meal prepping and meal planning. Basically, all you need to know about Intent is it's about the easiest app I've ever used in terms of you just plug in your macros and you plug in your dietary needs and you get recipes for however many days you specify. And you can export the data to MyFitnessPal. You can track your calories as well, so that's a nice perk. What I also really love about Intent is you can export the grocery list to Instacart or like some of these other delivery apps, and you can export your grocery list to your cart, and then everything's already there, so you don't have to do like all the manual shopping. I will say, using that feature, it's not seamless. Like some of the quantities and things like that might get messed up, so make sure that you're like double checking that. But for the most part, it does like 80% of the work of having to meal plan and find recipes and export all of that to a grocery list and do all the shopping. So if you're someone like me who doesn't like to do that planning, then an app like Intent will probably make a lot of sense for you. So I highly recommend it. Another app I've been using is called FoodNoms, and it's a calorie tracking app. So essentially, it's much like every other calorie tracking app out there. What I'll say I like about them more is that the visual representation of the macros is more intuitive to me. It's like making sure that I'm hitting my protein target in a day. That is more obvious in this app, so I like that about it. What I also like is you get that out of the box with the free version, as far as I can tell. You shouldn't have to pay to track your grams of protein, for example, which is rare in those kinds of apps. So FoodNoms, love it as well. These two apps together have been lifesavers when it comes to planning for my food for the week. And I don't really have an appetite on Wegovy. I don't get the same hunger signals that I normally would. So I have to be so intentional. Pun not intended, but intent makes that really easy. And I need to reach at least 1,000 calories as an adult woman at 5'2". I need to at least reach 1,000 calories. I try to target about 1,300 in a day. With Wegovy, that is not difficult to do, but in fact, it's the opposite for me right now. It's difficult for me to reach that number than it is for me to exceed that calorie amount because I don't have much of an appetite. And it's not like I like get sick from eating. It's just I I don't really think about food. And then I'm like, oh, okay, like now it's time for me to eat breakfast. Like, I still get some joy out of eating food, don't get me wrong, but it's not the same. Like, I don't wake up thinking, like, oh, what am I going to eat today? I really don't order food anymore, which used to be a huge thing for me. Is ordering food was like a fun treat for me. And I just like don't really find that that is the case anymore. I might have a thought about it, like, ooh, that would be really good, but then it just kind of passes. Whereas in the past, it would be like, ooh, that sounds really good. I'm going to order it right now, and then spiral into eating lots of unhealthy food because of the dopamine response that I got from it. All of that to say, I'm really happy with the way that Wegovy is impacting silencing the food noise so that I can eat for my target weight, which I will be talking about my results a little bit later on, so I'll talk about my target weight as well. Another thing I want to talk about is hitting my protein minimum has been very crucial, and it is part of this like app process. Like tracking it within these apps is a high priority basically because I don't want to lose muscle when I'm losing fat. I'm prioritizing losing fat because I haven't really introduced a lot of exercise outside of like walking or like an occasional YouTube video. Shout out to Grow with Jo. I love her content. I love her walking workout videos, but I haven't really introduced a lot of like intentional exercising, which will be a goal for me in some of my next videos. So keep an eye out for that. But because I haven't really introduced that, it means I need to be hitting a protein target to prevent muscle loss. So I look at like my target weight and then I will calculate how much protein I need for that instead of eating for my current weight, right? I'm eating for my target weight. So I'm at least trying to get that minimum amount of protein for that target weight. That's something I highly recommend, especially if you're not exercising right now in these earlier stages. Make sure that you're eating enough protein. It also helps with staying satiated. So it's just another way to help this process along. So, as far as side effects go, I talked about this in the last video, and I've talked about this in a couple of the videos in this series. So make sure that you're looking at the playlist for this and following week to week. I would recommend you watch my week 1 and week 2 before you watch this video. You can watch them out of order if you want, but I do recommend like just to see the progression and like the sort of recommendations I have each week. I'm still recommending everything that I recommended in my last video. So like as far as like the nausea and like the liquid IV for dehydration, still recommending those, still using those. And I haven't experienced any new side effects. I actually this week I didn't experience nausea on injection day, so that's a new for me. Injection actually, I normally get really nervous about it, but this week I was just like, you know what, I'm doing it. It's done. Like I didn't get nervous. Like I did the injection. There was no nausea. I felt good about it. So things are improving there. As far as constipation goes, such a fun topic, but I'm not experiencing that anymore either because I have been drinking enough water and I have been getting electrolytes through adding liquid IV to my daily water intake. So definitely make sure that you're hydrating on this medication because it will dehydrate you and you will get the worst constipation of your life if you're not careful. Also, make sure that you're not taking it to another extreme and like having too much electrolytes because that will cause the other opposite end of the spectrum. So make sure that you're not having too much or too little. So that leads me into my most exciting topic to talk about today that everyone's been waiting for, and that is my results. Last week I had said that I had lost 4 pounds. That was my total. This week my total is 6 pounds. I have lost that total of 6 pounds in this entire 3-week period. Feeling really good about it since I'm on the lowest dose and I'm already experiencing this weight loss. And at this rate, I'm losing about 2 pounds a week, which is about the most you should be losing to be healthy, recommended by most doctors. They don't want you losing more than 2 pounds because it can cause more implications around like gallstones and things like that. So I'm losing about an average of 2 pounds a week, so that's great. That's exactly where I'd like to be. And before I mention this, I am going to mention my specific starting weight because I think it's important. I talked about it in my last video that I was hesitant about it, but I think I'm ready to share it. I'm ready to share it, and I'm excited to share it because I think it's important for other people to hear and be aware of, and it will hopefully help you on your journey to hear tangible numbers. So my starting weight was 226 pounds, and I'm now at 220 pounds. As a 5'2" woman, that does put me in the obese range, and I'm trying to get down to a healthy weight, healthy BMI. I know BMI is kind of a contentious subject, but it works for the average human. So I'd like to get down to a healthy BMI and a healthy weight for my body personally. Right now, my target weight is looking at about 140 pounds, and that's simply because my adult body has never weighed less than 140 pounds. So if I'm able to go beyond that, great. If it makes sense and feels good for my body and Wegovy helps me get to that point, great. If not, at least 140 pounds, I will feel healthy at that number. So that's my target right now. And I'm calculating everything based on that. So we'll see how that goes because that number is based on where I've been able to get to in the past. And I think with Wegovy that may shift. Like it may change the amount of weight I'm able to lose. It may change that like let's say a set point that my body likes to be at, right? So I'm able to get below that, not significantly below that, right? Because I don't want to go in the other extreme, but I would say like 125 is like the absolute lowest that I'd like to be. So we'll see. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with the weight loss so far. I'm like I said, no new side effects. I'm excited to see like how much weight I'm able to lose overall and like what point I'm able to get to, right? So like moving beyond that 140 number could be interesting. I don't know. Like I've never seen my body at a absolute healthiest BMI recommended number. I've never seen my body at that. It could be interesting. I don't know. Maybe I don't like it though. And then maybe I'm like, okay, well, I'll try to eat a little bit more. But like at least I can kind of play with the macros and see like Wegovy is a tool. Wegovy to get to that point, right? Like, and that's something I definitely want to stress in these videos is I think a lot of people see it as like a magical thing. And like it is life-changing. It's amazing. And I don't want to discredit that or like take away from that. So it's just another tool in my toolbox to get to that healthy point that I want to be at for me. And for you, it's going to look different. Everyone is going to be different. It's going to be based on so many different factors, so many different health indications, and your height, and how your body stores fat, and everyone's going to be on their own journey. But I think it's important to share the specifics. For a lot of people, it's just hard to think about ambiguity. It's hard to really understand the impact and the progress if you don't hear the actual numbers. So there's that. I'm just happy. I'm just really excited. Like I had a lot of fear going into this process because I think it was just like the side effects, people being like, oh, like it causes like so much nausea and like constipation, like all these side effects. And for a lot of us too that have struggled with our weight for a long time, we're willing to take on that, right? Like I was willing to take on that to an extent. I was like, okay, bring it on. Bring on the nausea and constipation. I can deal with it. But I'm glad that I'm having such a positive experience. And I also want to make sure that my voice is heard in that regard because I did hear so much of that like scary information. I'm speaking on behalf of the people that have not had that experience, right? So my experience has been the opposite. I recommend Wegovy for anyone who's struggling to lose weight and has been for a long time. And if it makes sense for you, I think you should do it. So yeah, that's where we're at with week 3. I am super excited to continue to share my journey with you here. I also share my journey on TikTok, so make sure that you're following me there so that you don't miss out on my daily updates. I do share my day-to-day on Wegovy. Just recently I shared like what I eat in a day on Wegovy. I kind of give some ideas of like the volume that I'm eating and what I'm eating exactly. So make sure that you're following me there as well so that you don't miss out on any of that. And I will see you in the next one.